All right, the recording started. Yeah. Hello everyone. Just wanted to give a couple of process changes here. So we wanted to start with style presentation to kick off the session, and that's something new we want to try. And also we wanted to give some. Normally the presenters used to introduce themselves, but we wanted to. We are attempting to introduce to do some introduction from our side, because many speakers, we observed that they are a bit shy to introduce their all the faces they have. So that's why we wanted to do it this from this session onwards. So let me share my screen and can you see my presentation?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so thanks everyone for joining, and sorry. Let me turn off the subtitles. Why? All right, thanks everyone for joining. So this session is about this is a volunteering series again, and we got this lead actually from Pranav Harikrishnan, who gave a session last month or previous month about how volunteering helped in in preparing for college applications. And I must thank Mr. Hari and his family for introducing Mr. Cottalango to style. And and let me start with the agenda. So the agenda for this meeting is to start with the welcome address and housekeeping. I'm going to do that part. I've already started doing that. And then I'll hand over the floor to Mr. Cottalango Leon and Mrs. Roopa Leon to talk about the young translators and the Vetrivel Foundation organizations, and how those organizations are helping out the underprivileged kids. And then there is a Q&A session, and then Anu will give a vote of thanks to the guest speakers. All right, so let's move on. All right, so as we normally do, we start with a question here. So life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing really for others? So it's not a quote from me, it's from MLK. And the answer, there are many answers that we can say from each one of us. And I'm going to I'm going to introduce Mr. Cottalango Leon and Mrs. Roopa Leon as the answers for this question. So let me introduce Mr. Cottalango Leon. I take really great pleasure in introducing Mr. Cottalango Leon, and welcome to this session from Style. He holds a bachelor's in computer science from PSG College of Tech, and he's from southern part of Tamilnadu, and then moved to Coimbatore. And he also holds a master's from Arizona State University in computer science, and he is currently working as an architect in Sony Pictures ImageWorks. And yes, he is an Oscar Academy Award winner in 2016. It's a great privilege to have you here, Mr. Cottalango. And he got that award for his team. With his team, he got that award for the scientific and technical achievement for in animation and graphics in the software work. And he worked in commercially successful, a lot of successful movies in like Spider-Man, Men in Black, and Stuart Little, and a lot of other movies. And he is a constant innovator. And when I interacted with him, and when I learned more about him, and I'm really proud that he is having passion about democratizing the education and technology to making it available for everybody, and that's a great initiative to do. And he lives in Culver City, near Los Angeles in California, with his family. and he's passionate about computer graphics, animation, visual effects. And also he's a coordinator in Young Translators and Vetrivel Foundation. And on behalf of the so-called Tamil Youth Leadership and Entrepreneurship team, we welcome you, Mr. Cottalango Leon, to this session. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And thank you. And Mrs. Roopa Leon, again, no need to mention that she's the pillar for for the Leon's family, and she is the backbone for the entire operations behind the translation, the Young Translators, and she's the translation coordinator, and she also holds a master degree from Madurai Kamaraj University. I can take a little proud to say that I'm from Madurai. And she worked in various schools near Los Angeles, and also she has a multi-faced expert in like HR management and also a real estate professional. And now she is the translation coordinator in Young Translators or in Vetrivel Foundation. And she also coordinates the translation activities in Khan's Academy. So basically they translated, their team translated the content in Khan's Academy, more than 2,000 plus videos. I think Mr. Cottalango and Mrs. Roopa will cover it in their slides and their presentation. And they have a big team of adult and student volunteers, and and the team is spread worldwide. So they have teams all over the world to help them out. And also they've started doing translation for TED videos. And that's a great initiative. And on behalf of Style, we take immense pleasure in welcoming you, Mrs. Roopa Leon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
And I think that's all I have, and a few housekeeping. So we are going to have a Q&A session. So for the students who have questions, either you can post it in the comments in the Zoom meeting, or you can hold it off, and we are going to have like a discussion type of a session after Mr. Cottalango and Mrs. Roopa completes their session. So you can have conversation with them, and also if we will share this video to the participants who couldn't make it today at the end of this meeting, after the meeting is over. And if anybody has any other questions, you can keep posting in our Google Classroom. And let me stop sharing, and the floor is yours, Mr. Leon.
Thank you for the kind words, kind introduction. I'm really happy and honored to be with you guys today. I have heard about so-called Tamil, the organization, Tamil schools, and how you guys do a lot of community activities. So it's really inspiring to hear in Southland, we're all connected through language, but also through culture and, our common aspirations. So it's really nice to be part of you this evening. So what we want to do today is like a very brief overview of what we have been doing, right? So, and then just tell us about what we do. And then if you guys are interested, you can think about it and then, join other teenagers just like you to do this. And we have been doing this for the last almost 2 years now. We started very small with just 4 kids, and then it grew to about 60 kids now. So I have a small presentation. Let me try to share my screen. Hope you all can.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, let me go into presentation mode. All right, okay. So what is our objective? So you all know about Khan Academy. Most of you probably have used it. We all know how good of a quality it is, right? It's very high quality. It really introduces concept in a very simple but powerful way. It's free. It's in the internet. Anyone can use it. Only problem is it's all in English, mostly. And since it is free and it is available anywhere, one thought is that can it solve the problems of rural students in Tamilnadu, right? So due to technology, the internet is penetrating everywhere. Like everyone has like cell phone access, data is available everywhere. It's very cheap. So even in the remote parts of India, kids have access to internet and all these resources, but it's in English, so they cannot really use it. So what we do is we're part of the vetrivelfoundation.org. So the Vetrivel Foundation, it's a Bay Area based NGO. They have been in operation for almost 10 years now. And they wanted to do this. They wanted to translate Khan Academy into Tamil. They have been concentrating mostly translating the videos. As part of Vetrivel Foundation, we are young translators. We have a slightly different approach. We brought together teenagers like you. Mostly kids grew up here, went to Tamil school. They may not have the most fluent language command, but they can read and write Tamil, basic Tamil. They have been in Tamil school for a long time, and many of them even graduated from Tamil school. But we wanted to give them an opportunity to keep their connection with Tamil school and do something with our language, right? The volunteers are teenagers, and they are born here, and the parents, they are our main volunteers also. They act as adult volunteers. And we also recently, actually for more than a year now, some college students from India also joining us, right? So obviously they grew up in Tamilnadu, and they have a lot more command with Tamil, so they can help in a much higher level. But since the volume is so high, everybody has a part. So as a teenager, as someone who grew up here, what is it for you, right? Like you can ask, like, why should I do this? I'm already so busy. My middle school has so many other activities. I'm already doing volunteering with all of different places. I'm going to Tamil school. I really don't have time. Why should I do this, right? So few reasons. One is like, it's a way to like give back to your roots, right? So, your parents, most of them grew up there. And language is the one that connects us all. And there are kids just like you just in different parts of the world, right? So that's a way to give back. And you have been many of you have been studying Tamil for a long time in Tamil schools. And you have done homework, you've done your test and everything, but this gives you like a very practical way to just practice it. So this is not a homework, but you are actually doing translation that will help millions of other kids in the future. So something that you do, has a meaningful impact. And through young volunteers, young translators, we count your hours that you spend, right? So everything is tracked. Every week you come and do it. It's all put in a database, and you earn the volunteer hours. And many of you might know that your school might ask for some service hours. And when you in the future, when you apply for colleges or when you apply for jobs, just showing a history of volunteerism and like how you have used your time in other social activities helps you. And we also organize webinars. I think Socal Tamil also does similar things. But yeah, in addition to volunteering, since most of the volunteers are teenagers, we try to bring experts of various topics of interest. Like recently we did presentation from a JPL engineer. He talked about the recent Mars rover. And we had another scientist who actually was involved in the COVID vaccine research. He came and talked about what goes behind the scenes in COVID vaccine and things like that. So we typically cover mostly STEM, but sometimes other topics also. And this is another thing I wanted to highlight. So this year, we applied to be eligible for the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. So this is a kind of a prestigious award. So this is given on an age basis and how many hours that you put on a yearly basis, right? So many of our, like 8 of our teen volunteers put in substantial hours doing this on a weekly basis, and they received this award. And you also get this really nice letter from President Biden addressed to you about what meaningful impact we are all making. Okay. Anyway, so Khan Academy, I don't think I have to give a lot of introduction. Many of you probably have used it. Obviously, it's it's designed for self-study. So students are supposed to go watch videos and learn the concepts, very bite-sized pieces, right? It's not like hour-long videos. It's a very, very small videos. You learn it, and then you go to exercises and then practice it. You immediately test your knowledge. And then when you, after the watching video, when you do exercises, you have all these different steps that you follow through. It's an example of a video and some exercise, right? So and we try to and then what kind of content they have? Obviously they have math. Math is their core curriculum, but they also have tons of different things, right? So biology, physics, chemistry, US-based curriculums, as well as general concepts as well. And in Khan Academy, if you go there, and then if you change the language from English to Tamil, you will see this, very few, right? Mainly because it just like we haven't done so much of translation so far. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to bring more of this content into Tamil, so people who study in Tamilnadu can access all this wonderful educational content themselves. Okay, so what does this involve? Like, how do we do this? So there is a portal within Khan Academy called /translation, khanacademy.org/translation. If you go there, you'll see this. So these are the different old languages that they have been trying to translate. One of them is Tamil. If you take Tamil, you'll go into another site like this, where this is basically a database of all the content that they have, right? It's divided in terms of different grades and different topics. And we are only looking at math. There are similar ones for other subjects. And we take this and then we try to translate. For translation, what do we do? So there is a voiceover video, and that's needs to be translated into Tamil. That's mostly done by adults through Vetrivel Foundation. It's done by professional voiceover artists and professional translators. So they have been doing this for a long time. Behind the videos is all the exercises, right? The tons of text content, exercises, descriptions, articles, all those things. Those are text content. And that's what, from young translators, we have been trying to do. And because it's a little bit simpler compared to translating the voiceover video. So when it comes to this translating this text content, there is another site that you will go into, and this is what they have. So from the database, they will show side by side, right? So they will show on the left-hand side is your English content, and the right-hand side is where you're supposed to enter the Tamil content. So it is a very quick overview. Don't worry about all the complicated stuff here, but you'll use something like this to enter the translation. So what we found out is when kids went there and tried to put their translation directly, that's complications, right? So math translation sometimes involves formulas and images and things like that. So they have their own kind of markup language, right? That's what you will see on the right-hand side here. And what we found out is trying to keep all this formatting consistent, doing the translation, doing all this localization is pretty hard. So we divided that into two steps. One is we downloaded all the text content internally, and then we created some software tools to convert into like a simple text and put it in a Google spreadsheet like this, right? So this is what we give to our teen volunteers. So in a Google spreadsheet, you'll be given the English text, and we also provide the Google Translate, right? Because many of you may have used Google Translate for doing your Tamil school homework, right? It's not suggested, but you may have done it. But here we actually do it for you because it's just a starting point. As you can see, the Google Translate doesn't do a very good job when it comes to technical translation. They'll do it, but they'll miss a lot of nuances, right? That's what we are trying to improve. So right from the spreadsheet, we give this to you. And there is an important glossary part also, right? Because again, when it comes to mathematics translation, the generic words vocabulary is not appropriate many times. So we give you, this is a database built by Vetrivel Foundation. So based on the words found in that particular line, these are the specific technical words you're supposed to use. So part of your work as a volunteer is to make sure that these particular words are used, not generic words, right? And this is the place where in the Tamil text column is where you would enter. So this is basically it. This is what you'll be doing on a weekly basis. So you will get a spreadsheet, you'll get a link to the original Khan Academy exercise. You will go there, you'll understand what they're trying to explain. You come here, look at the Google Translate, use the glossary, and then try to translate. And that's what the volunteers do. But it sounds simple, but it's actually pretty complex, right? So to start with, technical translation, as I said, is not easy, even for experts, because we are trying to match the quality of a Tamil textbook, right? Where it's done by experts, right? It's just not easy. People will actually go through a lot of training to do that. So obviously we cannot do at that level, but we try our best. And there's obviously multiple levels of other people who will improve the translation. Something called localization. So, you grew up here, you go to Khan Academy, you will understand what they're talking about because it's all based on what's happening in the US most of the time, right? They'll talk about, for example, car wash or yard sale or, things like that, right? So if you just translate exactly, literally to Tamil, it may not make sense to kids who grow up in villages in Tamilnadu. So we need to kind of translate it. We use Indian names. We convert the games into games played in Tamil Nadu. We convert some of the concepts into like something that's happening locally, right? So the idea is to get them focus on the math concept, right? Not cultural differences. So we talked about that whole markup language. So when you translate and when you upload it, you have to pay attention to all these different markup syntaxes and make sure that they are entered properly in Tamil, right? So we call it a coding step. And then just the volume. It's just like Khan Academy is like ocean, tons and tons of exercise material. It's very, very hard to do with a small team, right? So it takes a lot of hands, a lot of brains. That's where you all come in. And varying Tamil skills. So like we understand as kids, you grew up here and your knowledge of Tamil can be very limited, right? Many of you may not have enough fluency, but it's okay, because you are trying to improve from that machine translation from Google Translate, and we can improve from there. So what's the workflow? Teen volunteers and adult volunteers, they all come together typically on a 1 hour per week, right? On a weekend, typically. They'll come on online session just like this. They'll work together in the Google spreadsheet. And then this spreadsheet is given to other volunteers who will do like a review, offline review. And sometimes these reviews can come back to their online session. So you understand, okay, what are the mistakes that we made? How can we improve? This is where the real Tamil learning happens. And then, a lot of times, even the adult volunteers may not know exactly what words to use, how to do this. And then we have some teachers in India who help us on a case-to-case basis. And as I said, these translations happen in a Google Classroom using Google Meet. And we spend about 1 hour per week during weekends. That's the commitment we ask for. We also give enough breaks, right? So typical, a quarter system. So 4 times in a year, students come, they spend about 10 weeks, roughly average. And then we take 2 to 3 weeks of break, and then come back for another 10 weeks, take a break like that, right? So what we ask is if you join in a term, in a particular quarter, try to stick to that 10 weeks so that because we organize all the different groups and set up the classrooms and everything. So if you can commit to continuing for the whole term, it's really helpful. But there's no commitment, obviously. There is no obligation. If you get busy or if you suddenly cannot continue, we are quite flexible. But most, we see that once students are committed, they do come for the entire term. And then if you get busy or something else is going on with your life, if you want to take a break for 1 term, that's completely fine. You can come back to the following term. And then every week that you come, every hour that you put, it's all tracked. There is a shared spreadsheet that's almost like, tracking your attendance during Tamil school. So these are tracked. And this is what we use for giving certificates at the end. And once a year, we send the participation certificates to all the teen volunteers. So again, in a kind of pictorial view of how this whole workflow happens. So at the beginning is, teen students. And there are adult volunteers who sit with them during online reviews. When their work is finished, it goes to a bunch of adult volunteers who are reviewing this. Sometimes they can consult with India staff and they can consult with experts. This cycle can repeat a couple of times based on the complexity of the topic. When they're all done, it goes ready for coding. And then again, when the upload stage, similar kind of cycle. So they would take this finally finished spreadsheet, they'll upload it to the Khan Academy site. Once again, there will be another quality check. Finally, it will be published. So this is done using Google Classroom. You might be all very familiar with it. Roopa will also talk about day-to-day workflow in a bit. But yeah, so we track on a weekly basis what you are supposed to do, where the status is and all that in Google Classrooms. So very quickly, this is the, what we talked about, right? So it starts at the Google Translate level, it's based on machine translation. We see that it's a very, very, 20% quality, that's it, but that's all we expect. And then using teen students, here, what we are expecting them to do, use the appropriate technical terms from the glossary, try to do simple localization, right? Like, we use your creativity to make the localization replacements. Do your own grammar mistakes as much as you can. And then it goes into offline review. That's where adults will come in and they'll help improve grammar mistakes or clarify the sentences and just like make it more readable. We try to bring it all the way to 75% quality by that time. And it goes to expert in India. They check because a lot of teams are doing independently. So everything has to come together at the end with a similar kind of quality, right? So they check for consistency. And then we try to bring like 95%, 99% of quality. Vetrivel Foundation does a final review, and then that's it, we are done. It's published. This is a little bit out of date, but right now, I believe we have more than 3 Tamil schools. About 10 to 15 teams. It changes from quarter to quarter, depending on how many students sign up. 3rd grade, actually, it's almost done, about 100, in fact, 100% done, 3rd grade. 4th and 5th are about this level, almost done. This slide is out of date. So these are some of the links. I will share the slide deck with you so you can go and read about us, all these different sites. So that's my part of the presentation. Let me stop here and I will leave it to Roopa to provide more context.
Thank you, Mr. Cottalango.
Roopa, if you are speaking, you are muted.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it. We can hear you also.
Okay, thank you. So I think Cottalango covered everything. I have only a few things to say. So first of all, how do we let the kids volunteer? We ask you to sign up if interested. Right now we are on a break, but in a couple of weeks, we start a new session. Like we have 4 sessions per year with 3 weeks in a break in between. So right now we are on a week, and then our next session starts around September 25th, that weekend. And we divide you into teams. And as you can see, we have a lot of teams here. And this is what this is all done in Google Classroom. And right now I am showing a teams page. So and there will be teachers who are volunteers, and then there will be students who signed up. Typically a group will contain about 5 to 6 kids. We keep the group size only to a 6 to the max. And then in the classwork section, we give you a Google Meet, and it's set for the whole fall or winter session. And the time is decided upon the kids who sign up. Like they have to come up with the time that they want to make. Typically, in the teams that we run, they typically meet on weekends. They prefer weekends, and just like going to Tamil school, they just all come but join in Google Meet and then work on the sessions, work in the Google Classroom. Some of them do meet on weekdays, but the time is completely decided by your team volunteers. We ask 1 or 2 volunteers, adult volunteers, to sign up, but the kids can join, and then we divide them into groups. So when you come into the classroom, we assign you worksheets. So this is what your worksheets will look like, and it will be dated. And then when you come in, you click on this spreadsheet. So this is a spreadsheet that we assign you. So basically there will be Tamil text, and then you use the Tamil translation, and then you put your Tamil text here in this columns using the glossary, just like Cottalango said. So right now I am the only one present, but when you meet in a Google Meet, when all of you access, the adult volunteer can see you working in different cells. So they guide you through the process, and they tell you, okay, when you are making an entry here, the adult volunteer will see it, and they'll say, okay, you are making a mistake, can you do it? Or the kids can ask questions, how do I do this? Am I making sense? So they will guide you through the process. So most of the kids are from here, so they have the same a limited Tamil knowledge, but they are able to do it with the help of an adult, and they show promising results. So after typically a session on a weekly basis, they meet 1 hour. But if you want to keep the session longer for an hour and a half, again, it's completely up to you. Some of the schools do an hour and a half because they feel an hour is too short. So they do it an hour and a half, and they try to finish whatever exercise we have posted for that week. If you are not able to finish, that's fine. All we ask is 1 hour time commitment. You can resume your work from where you left in the following sessions, in the following week. So that's how we do it. And then typically a session will run from 8 to 10 weeks. Only one session will be like 12 weeks, but typically it will be 8 to 10 weeks per session. And then we take a break, and then we come back, and that's how we do it. And then we have something called coding worksheets. You don't have to worry about that now. And then at the end of each session, we have volunteer logs. The adult volunteers will track your volunteers, and then they put the entry right there, right at the end of the session, and they log in the minutes. And like twice a year, we count this volunteer hours, and we give a certificate from Vetrivel Foundation. Since Vetrivel Foundation is a non-profit organization, they can give you hours which will be recognized by your school, because typically middle school and high school, at least high school, some of the schools mandate volunteering. So those hours can be given to your school, and they will accept it because Vetrivel Foundation is a non-profit organization. And above this, we also submit applications for presidential awards. That's a little bit more complicated because you have to have a minimum of certain hours to be eligible to apply. So for example, it's also categorized according to age. So if you're 16 and above, you at least need a minimum of 100 hours over a period of 12 months to get a bronze medal, because they give bronze, silver, and gold medals. But if you're age 16 and above, your target will be set at a higher level. Whereas for kids 15 and below, the target is more easily achievable because the number of hours required will be minimum. So you can check those details in the presidential awards website, so you get a better idea. And 8 of our kids we applied this year, and they got the awards. Some of them got gold, and some of them got bronze awards. So that's getting a bronze award for 16 and above is really hard because you have to put a lot of hours. But you can set that as a target, and you can achieve those results. It's still doable because some of our kids did that. Apart from that, there are college kids involving from India. So for example, we have a PhD Tech team and PhD Polytechnic, and we also have a Tyagaraja College of Engineering students who are also participating in this endeavor. And actually, Tyagaraja College of Engineering, we had first set last year. They really loved what we gave them, and then the seniors brought in a bunch of juniors to get involved in this project. So they really loved it. They feel honored to do this. So it's a good thing to do. So I encourage students to at least try one session. There is no, you just commit for one session and try it. And if you like it, you can sign up for the next session. There is no compulsion that you have to stay committed for the entire year, because I understand you all have your own commitments. So that's totally fine. Just sign up for one session and see how you like it. You just can, earn volunteer hours sitting from your home, 1 hour per week. If you need more sessions, then you can sign up for the entire year, and then you achieve like at least 40 hours per year. And then you can even use that hours to apply for Presidential Service Awards. So that's all I have to share. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Roopa Leon. It's really informative. All right. Since Mr. Cottalango Leon and Mrs. Roopa Leon are done with their presentation, do you have anything else, Mr. Cottalango, or shall we open up for Q&A?
One thing I forgot, I think you also mentioned, is that we are starting to do TED video translation. That's a completely different thing. It's a different workflow. It's actually a little bit easier because there's no mathematical expression, there's no coding, none of that. And it's also smaller in size, right? It's like a small video. You download the subtitles and you translate and you upload. It's a little bit faster workflow. We are just starting to experiment with it. But the bulk of the work is still Khan Academy content. We are going pretty fast. That is, the current students are doing the 7th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade content. We want to go till 8th grade. That's our goal. From 9th grade onwards, it becomes quite complex. They are trying, the Vetrivel Foundation is trying to do with the adult paid staff in India. But our goal is to do up to 8th grade, starting from the 3rd grade, all the videos completed, all the exercises completed. Our goal is to do it in this current year, in this academic year. We want to be done with it. And then once it is done, we want to branch out to like other translation activities, TED videos, and just tons and tons of really, really quality educational materials. We want to bring that to everywhere, and the kids in India. So that's our goal, but we're starting with the TED videos now.
All right, thank you, thank you. All right, I think then we can open up for questions. So yeah, any questions from anyone? You can have the conversation open with the presenters, the speakers. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Medha.
So hi, my name is Medha, and I was wondering how we sign up.
So for that, we will send you a Google form, sign up sheet, and you can sign up, and then that will, it is all done through Google Forms. So we can send that details later to Saravanan sir, and he can forward to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's a good question. Thank you, Roopa, for clarifying. So just to let you know, this is mainly for students in style. So when me and Mr. Cottalango was speaking about it, what is the next step that we can do from style is that we can ask for a volunteer team in style. We can form a small team of 4 kids or 5 kids, and how many, I mean, it depends on how many students are interestingly coming forward to register, and we can form a team, and we can also form the team with an adult volunteer, and they can be considered as one of the team that Mrs. Roopa mentioned in the Google Classroom. So that I mean, there are 2 ways, right? So either you can add yourself to an existing team that's that they have, or we can form a new team from style, and you can represent style, or I mean it doesn't matter, and you can we can form a team from our side and help them out.
I have a few things to add to that.
Sure,
like you said, you can form your own team. We actually encourage that because we need all adult volunteers also. If you can come up with, if you have like 4 or 5 students, definitely we can form a separate team for you, and that adult volunteer who is going to be taking care of the team will take over. And I just provide materials, and then you meet weekly, and then you finish the work just like our workflow, just like how I explained. But if you just one or two kids, I can definitely put them in the existing teams. That's not a problem.
Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? There is a question from Abhinav Bose. You want me to read out, Abhinav, or you want to unmute and ask? Oh, you have that mic issue, isn't it? No, we couldn't hear you well. That's fine. Don't worry, Abhinav. I'll read out for you.
Okay.
So the question is, do you assign the timings on weekends, or can I choose my own timings?
I can answer that question. That depends entirely on the team that you're forming. If you want to join the existing team, obviously you have to join the time that was already decided by the team. So it could be on a Sunday or a Saturday, or it could be on a Monday or a Wednesday. It depends on the availability, the spots availability in various teams. But if you, from style, if you are coming up with your own team, then you get to choose your timing. Again, the adult volunteer has to coordinate with all the kids and then say, oh, hey, can we agree upon a timing? And then that's the timing you come. So it's all up to you.
Yeah, just to add to that, like some kids say, hey, can I just do it on my own without coming to the online session? We highly discourage it, right? So it's really a collaborative activity. It makes the job of the adult volunteer much easier if they can watch you work and they can kind of help you at that time itself. Otherwise, you can make a lot of changes and then they have to come and change it. And plus you get to see what others are doing. You can talk to them and all that, right? So as much as possible, yeah, you are required to come on that particular time, whichever time that the team is decided on, and they try to come up. And that's how we also track the volunteer hours, right? That's, we can check who showed up on that day. But once in a while, depending on the team and the adult teacher, they can make arrangements to be flexible once or twice, that's fine. But other than that, we encourage kids to show up on the translation session, just like you would go to Tamil school.
I have a question. My question is, say you take a meeting, everybody wants to do only 1 hour, but say you want to do multiple hours, but will you get a chance to do it for multiple hours in the same session, or will you not be able to do because other people don't opt?
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand your question. And the way I understood is, how can I get more hours other than the 1 hour I'm committed? Is that your question?
Yeah. So
Kind of in the same session, say other people only want to do the 1 hour session. Is it possible in the same session to like do it alone for little more time if other people don't want to?
It depends on the adult volunteer. So some adult volunteers do trust the child because they know them, they have been working them for a while, so they do that. But if your adult volunteer does not know you, then it could be a problem. Again, we have teams where adult volunteers give extra work and ask them to finish it at their time, but they insist on coming to the online session, but they allow them to finish the work at a later time. But there are also adult volunteers who do not encourage that, because then there's a question of accountability. How did you really do it? Because most of the time, the adult volunteer will meet you for the first time through a Google Meet. So they might not know you well. So in that case, it becomes a difficult issue. And but what one team did was they faced the same issue like what you are asking. So they wanted to do more. So they made the session an hour and a half. Sometimes it goes up to 2 hours. But the adult volunteer makes the decision because all the kids in the teams wanted to do more. So they made the session an hour and a half, a standard, as opposed to an hour for because that's what we asked them. But they said, no, we want to do an hour and a half. Can we do that? Because we want to finish as much as possible. Because they were all high school kids and they wanted to get it done. Because what happened was when they left the session, they were not able to find time to do the work in addition to their homework. So they made the session an hour and a half. So they did all the work during that session and they earned more hours. So again, it depends on the adult volunteer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, besides accountability, it's easier on adult volunteer. It's better that they watch while you work and they help you right there, right? Otherwise, you may go really fast, make a lot of changes, and then they have to come and see what you did. So it is really better done in real time while you are working, and adult volunteers may not have that much time, right? Because they are also very busy. So we just say, everybody try to do 1 hour. I think that's something that we can all easily allocate. But if the whole team wants to do more, if the adult is available, then obviously they can do that. But if 1 or 2 kids want to do it more, then it's something that you need to work out within your team.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, but this could be a little off topic. User end, when in the flow chart you showed me up to the extent where the work gets published. From the time it gets published and the feedback part that you would have received some sort of feedback, yeah? Can I hear more about that, please?
We are not there yet. It's not fully implemented yet. There's so many technical challenges. We are trying to do 3rd grade. We are almost there. We have been there in that stage for a while, but so we're hoping to get there very soon. So our goal is to get all the materials fully translated, fully ready. And then once we are able to publish, then there's a big effort of actually taking it to schools, training, showing them what we have done, and as you said, getting feedback, right? Like how much kids actually understand what we have done and all that. That's going to be a big initiative, hopefully next year.
Okay, thank you so much.
I want to add a couple of things on that. The reason we are struggling to publish is because the IT team in Khan Academy, they made some huge changes in their IT sector. They published they updated their system and so many things crashed. So we had to backlog. There were so many setbacks in our work. So they said they're not going to support us until they have to fix their Khan Academy IT team. So it's a matter of depending on them. So that's a challenge. We can only go up to a certain level, but the publishing part is done through their thing, through their platform. So ultimately, we have to depend on them. We cannot publish all these materials without their permission, right? We have to still do it in khanacademy.org/Tamil.
Okay.
So that's where things are getting backlogged. So we do it on a much faster rate. We do the quality check, we do everything. And then Vetrivel Foundation also, work the video part. And when both of them are done, we are presenting to the IT team and then things hang in there.
Okay.
So that's a challenge. But we are almost there. They got fixed it and we are trying to publish the 3rd grade now for the first time in live site. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The reason why I asked this question is because I have been to a couple of government aided schools where I have seen, this is many years ago, I have seen the teacher use the blackboard and kids constantly, they either share even their textbooks and wait for the teacher to give out instructions. And the situation was a little primitive.
Right.
They have been doing the best with their resources, but now I am trying to connect myself and see the students receiving materials online and them having physical copy of it, trying to use it, and then them understanding and then giving feedback. What would be the margin of students who would actually utilize it to the full capacity is what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I mean, that part is done heavily by Vetrivel Foundation. I think they adopted 2 or 3 schools in Chennai, and they have been, getting feedback from them. In fact, they published everything, but they made it so pure Tamil that it didn't actually reach the target audience. So that was the feedback they received. It was pure Tamil. Like, for example, காருக்கு வந்து மகிழந்தி அப்படின்னு சொல்லி யூஸ் பண்ணி சோ அந்த குழந்தைங்களுக்கு மகிழந்தின்னு என்னன்னு சொல்லி கொடுத்தாதான் அந்த ப்ராப்ளமே சொல்லி தர முடியும் இல்லைங்களா? சோ ஒரு 3rd கிரேட் 4th கிரேடுக்கு வந்து ஏன்னா நம்ம ஊர்ல தமிழ் வந்து நிறைய இங்கிலீஷும் கலந்துதான் பேசுறோம். சோ மகிழந்தி அப்படின்ற வார்த்தை நானே இங்க வந்துதான் என்ன அப்படின்னு சொல்லி கத்துக்கிட்டேன். சோ அப்படிலாம் வந்து ரொம்ப பியூரா அதை எடுத்துட்டு போய் அது வரலன்னு சொன்னதுனால they had to come back to the drawing board again, start all over and make some changes. So அந்த மாதிரி சில feedbacks எல்லாம் வந்தது. பட் அவங்க வந்து என்ன நினைக்கிறாங்கன்னா at a time எல்லாத்தையும் ஒரே டைம்ல பப்ளிஷ் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறாங்க.
ஓகே நீங்க சொன்ன அதே பாயிண்ட் தான். எப்படின்னா வந்து நான் என்னோட ஃபேமிலி கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல் அந்த எய்டட் ஸ்கூலுக்கு ப்ரீவியஸ் ஜெனரேஷன்ஸ்ல ஹெல்ப் பண்ணி அந்த டைம்ல ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் ஸ்கூல் எப்படி ரன் பண்ணுது அப்படிங்கிற மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ப்ராசஸ் நான் பார்த்தது உண்டு. அப்போ இப்போ நீங்க சொல்றத கேட்கும் போது மனசுல தோணினது என்ன அப்படின்னா, இங்கிலீஷ் இங்க இருக்கிற பசங்க தமிழுக்கு டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணி அங்க பசங்களோட ஃபீட்பேக் கேட்கறத விட அங்க தமிழ்ல படிச்ச பசங்களோட கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் இந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் அவங்க தமிழ் டு இங்கிலீஷ் ஜம்ப் பண்ணா அவங்களுக்கு அது டபுள் அப்கிரேடா இருக்கும் இல்லையா அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி மைண்ட் போச்சு. லைக் அவங்க இங்கிலீஷும் கத்துப்பாங்க, அதே சமயம் வந்துட்டு அவங்களோட ஹெல்ப்பும் இருந்துச்சு. மியூச்சுவலா 2 சைட்ல இருந்தும் இந்த ப்ராசஸ் நடந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் நம்ம எதிர்பார்க்கிற இந்த கன்ஃபியூஷன் அந்த வார்த்தைகள் ஈஸியா கத்துக்க முடியும் இல்லையா அப்படிங்கறதுதான் யோசிச்சேன். தேங்க்யூ சோ மச்.
அதுக்கு வந்து we are right now ஒரு குட்டி எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட் வந்து நம்ம ஊர்ல காலேஜ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் படிக்கிறவங்க they come from தமிழ் மீடியம் பேக்ரவுண்ட், தமிழ் ஸ்கூல்ல இருந்து ஸோ அவங்கள நாங்க இன்வால்வ் பண்றோம். பிகாஸ் அவங்க அந்த காலேஜ்க்கு வரும்போது எப்படி அவங்க இங்கிலீஷ்ல தான் அது கத்துக்கணும், பட் ஸ்டில் தே ஹேவ் த தமிழ் நாலேஜ் கொஞ்சம் இருக்கிறதுனால அவங்கள we are involving. ஏன்னா இங்க வந்து எப்படின்னாலும் லிமிட்டட் நாலேஜ், நமக்குமே வந்து நிறைய டேர்ம்ஸ் எல்லாம் மறந்து போயிருக்கும் தமிழ் மீடியத்துல படிச்சாலும். பிகாஸ் we are like 10-15 years இங்க இருந்துட்டோம். ஸோ இப்போ காலேஜ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை நம்ம இன்வால்வ் பண்ணும் போது அந்த இது ஹெல்ப்லாம் வருது. 1. 2வது வந்து இந்தியா ஸ்டாஃப் ஹையர் பண்றோம். மேத், தமிழ், இங்கிலீஷ் தெரிஞ்ச மேத் டீச்சர்ஸ் ஹையர் பண்ணி அவங்கள வந்து நாங்க இன்வால்வ் பண்றோம். ஓகே, நாங்க செஞ்ச டிரான்ஸ்லேஷன்ஸ் கரெக்டா இல்லையா அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவங்க கிட்ட அப்ரூவல் வாங்கினதுக்கு அப்புறம் we try to put it upload it in a website அந்த மாதிரி.
ஓகே thank you.
You're welcome.
அந்த ரிசோர்ஸ் பத்தி சொன்னீங்களா, இட்ஸ் going to be a challenge தான். அவங்க இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணது என்ன பண்ணாங்கன்னா they try to ஒரு டிவி மாதிரி கொடுப்பாங்க, ஒரு டிவி. இன்ஃபேக்ட் அந்த கான் அகாடமி கான்டென்ட் கூட பிகாஸ் லாட் ஆஃப் டைம்ஸ் அந்த வில்லேஜஸ்ல வந்து இன்டர்நெட் கனெக்ஷன் சரியா இருக்காது, ஸோ ஸ்ட்ரீம் எல்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது. ஸோ they put the whole content into a USB drive. USB drive கொடுத்து without internet it will work like that. So they put I think they give a TV and some kind of tablet, I think some Android tablet with a USB drive with all the Khan Academy content. Using that, the teacher will display to the classroom. Instead of using blackboard, they put the TV, they show the videos. அதை பார்த்துட்டு I don't know if they are doing exercise, அதெல்லாம் பண்ண முடியாது, obviously இண்டிவிஜுவலாக பண்ண முடியாது. But as a group, maybe they'll try to do it together. அந்த மாதிரி they try to adjust என்ன constraints இருக்கோ அதை வச்சுட்டு.
Okay.
Right. So
that will be a great idea. And eventually the printable copies are, if we get enough sponsors, அது இன்னும் நிறைய குழந்தைகளுக்கு பெனிஃபிஷியலா இருக்கும்.
Exactly. And the tablets எல்லாம் ஓரளவுக்கு சீப்பா வந்துருச்சு. Even if you are able to get 10-15 tablets per school அந்த மாதிரி கொடுத்தாலே இந்த ஸ்கூல்ல kids can take rotation, right? So they can just watch the video over and over again. They go to use the tablet, loan மாதிரி வாங்கி எடுத்து இங்க இந்த Chromebook எல்லாம் கொடுக்குறாங்கல்ல ஸ்கூல்ல, அதே மாதிரி they can use some kind of low cost device. even like போன்லயே பண்றாங்க, நல்ல அழகா போன்லயே பார்த்து பேரண்ட்ஸோட போன் யூஸ் பண்ணி அதெல்லாம் பண்றாங்க. So that's we'll see அதை நம்ம இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணும்போது தான் தெரியும் அதுல என்ன challenges எல்லாம் இருக்கு.
This will definitely be a hit. நிறைய பேருக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும் இது. And I have seen this in English. ஆனா வந்து மேத்துக்கு இப்பதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கேள்விப்படுறேன், பட் இட் வில் டெஃபினெட்லி ரீச் a lot of needy people.
இது வந்து ஆக்சுவலா மேடம் லைக் பஞ்சாப் ஆர் குஜராத் நினைக்கிறேன், அந்த ஏதாவது அதுல ஒரு ஸ்டேட் வந்து ஃபுல்லா தே டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டட். அண்ட் அது மட்டும் இல்லாம அத வந்து அவங்களுடைய சிலபஸ்ல வந்து இன்கார்பரேட் பண்ணி பார்ட் ஆஃப் சிலபஸாவே ஆக்கிட்டாங்களாமா. அப்புறம் வந்து கர்நாடகா கவர்மெண்ட் ரைட் நவ் கவர்மெண்ட், ஏன்னா அந்த ஐ எம் நாட் ஷூர் வெதர் இட்ஸ் பஞ்சாப் ஆர் குஜராத், மோஸ்ட்லி குஜராத்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அதுல வந்து நிறைய பேர் டோனர்ஸ் எல்லாம் சேர்ந்து வாலண்டியர்ஸ் எல்லாம் சேர்ந்து அதை பண்ணிருக்கிறாங்க. பட் கர்நாடகா கவர்மெண்டே வந்து அதுல மணி இன்வெஸ்ட் பண்ணி இதை டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்குது. because they want to follow that model. They want to incorporate this Khan Academy in the ஏன்னா இப்ப எல்லாமே வந்து ஆன்லைன்ல கத்துக்கிற மாதிரி தான் வந்துருச்சு. எஸ்பெஷலி இந்த பேண்டமிக் டைம்ல எல்லாம் வீடியோ பார்த்து தான் கத்துக்கிற மாதிரி வந்துருச்சு. ஸோ தே வாண்ட் டு பிரிங் தட் இன்டு அவர் எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம்லேயே கொண்டு வந்துடுறா நல்லா இருக்குமே அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு கர்நாடகா கவர்மெண்ட் சீரியஸ்லி ட்ரைங். ஸோ அப்படி பார்க்கும்போது வை நாட் தமிழ் அப்படின்றதான் ஒரு மோட்டிவேஷன் இருக்கு.
கரெக்ட். ஆனா லாஸ்ட் இயர் இப்ப இந்த கோவிட் டைம் வந்தப்ப ஐ ஹர்ட், நான் பார்க்கல எந்த வீடியோஸும், பட் ஆனா வந்து பிகாஸ் எல்லா குழந்தைங்களுக்கும் கேட்ஜெட்ஸ் இல்ல அப்படிங்கறதுனால கவர்மெண்ட் டிவி சேனல் மூலமாவே கூட இப்படி எல்லாரையும் போய் ரீச் பண்ணலாம்னு ஒரு மாடல் கொண்டு வந்த மாதிரி நான் கேள்விப்பட்டேன். பட் ஐ டோன்ட் நோ ஹவு சக்சஸ்ஃபுல் ஆர் இஃப் இட் இஸ் ஸ்டில் ரன்னிங் ப்ரோக்ராம். பட் அப்படி இருந்துச்சுன்னா இட் இஸ் டெஃபினெட்லி nice.
It's true. It's true. Just couple of updates on that. Enana, because I've been doing some volunteering for some rural students in South Tamilnadu in Virudhunagar and Aruppukkottai government schools. So I used to talk to those kids. So what is that changing now is like last few years, the initiative from Tamil Nadu government is to bring smart classes in every single class. So the smart class includes a projector and an internet connection and some basic necessary to connect to the internet and let the kids watch and understand many things over online. And also the smart classes introduced by the government to conduct some remote sessions with the people like us in US and Europe and other countries. So that collaboration is started at a very high level from the government, and also it's being implemented well. And I think to answer this discussion, it's going to be really helpful when Vetrivel Foundation pitches in with the government officials to reach it or penetrate it to the deeper levels. So it will definitely be a success. They're having the framework being set up there. Yeah,
that's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Due to pandemic, right, everybody is forced to quickly adapt.
Right.
Online learning, online virtual learning, self-paced learning, அதெல்லாம் வந்து it came reality very quickly. But still அந்த தமிழ் மீடியம் கிட்ஸ் தமிழ்ல படிக்கிறவங்க எல்லாம் they left behind. They don't have access to any of this. So அதெல்லாம் hopefully we can help.
Right. Yeah. And also some of my friends who are working in school districts in Tamil Nadu, they introduced Tamil, YouTube channels for their classes, YouTube channel for their schools, and they have videos and playlists for their students in every subject. So that's all coming up now. Yeah. There is a question from Abhinav. Do we, or I think, can we get help from our parents too in this whole process?
Yeah, let's ask Pooja about that. Pooja is here. Oh, maybe she left. Okay. Yeah. Oh, irka.
Amma innu irka. Pooja, any thoughts on this question, Pooja?
So my dad kind of helps me with comp science because he is my adult volunteer in the comp science group. So he will help me with like all the coding and everything. And of course, like parents can help you like sign up and anything in the process.
Yeah, definitely. It takes many brains, right? Yeah, for adult volunteers, அவங்க வந்து parents informally அவங்களுடைய own kid help பண்ணலாம். இல்ல they can formally sign up as adult volunteer and help other kids too. So both options are highly welcome.
அபினவ், இந்த கொஸ்டின் நீ கேட்டது வந்து பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஹெல்ப் வேணும்னு நினைக்கிறியா இல்ல பேரண்ட்ஸ் வரக்கூடாதுன்னு நினைச்சு இந்த கொஸ்டின் கேட்டியா? அபினவ் கொஞ்சம் சொல்ல.
Good question. Yes.
I want my parents to come.
Okay.
There you go.
பக்கத்துல dad நிக்கிறாங்களோ? Okay. சரி. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for signing up, Abhinav and Bose.
Right. Actually, that's a really good question, right? இது சில அந்த ஆசிரியர் தமிழ் ஸ்கூல்ல நாங்க ப்ரெசென்ட் பண்ணும்போது ஒருத்தர் கேட்டான், இது வந்து என்ன, இது ஹோம்ஒர்க்கா, இது டெஸ்டா, வாட் ஆர் யூ ட்ரைங் டு டூ அப்படின்னா. இல்ல, this is not a homework. There is no test, there is no grading. Really, nobody is measuring you. There is no peer pressure. This is really voluntary. This is really, you are helping other kids. You are learning as a process. அது வந்து நம்ம அந்த ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து எல்லாமே ஒரு காம்படிஷன் அப்படியே போறதுனால, for some of them it's little bit, hard to understand. இதுல என்ன, why is it another activity for me, right? So we are doing it for others mainly, but we are also benefiting as a side effect.
Yeah, thank you. There is another question from Murugan V. Will you post the presentation on the Google Classroom? Is it, Murugan, are you talking about the presentation that Mr. Leon gave, or?
Yeah, the presentation that he gave.
Yeah, today's one, we'll just share the slides to
Okay.
Saravanan, and he can distribute along with you, so you can go back and review it. Once you sign up, we'll use the Google Classroom for just regular translation activities. Yeah, but we'll share this after the event today.
Okay, all right. So then I will post it in our classroom, Murugan. Yeah, I think that's your question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anyone? You can unmute and ask. Sachin, Pragnya, or Amudan?
I don't have any questions.
All right, Amudan, thank you.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Sachin.
So like after you finish the volunteering, and like if you're applying for colleges, like will it be is it a benefit for like college applications?
Yeah, definitely. I think yes, this definitely helped some of the kids for college application. And especially if you get a presidential award, it's definitely, I think it has some weight to your college application. Definitely, yes.
Yeah, like you might know about the whole holistic review, right? A lot of colleges, they don't just look at your academics, right? They don't just look at your grades. They also see what you have done outside of work. Did you play sports? Did you get involved with the community? Did you do volunteering, right? Did you actually grow as a person? How much, what did you do to help others? They look at everything, right? So this is a good proof, especially if you're able to come every week, earn these hours. And it's a official proof that you did this, right? So obviously, I think it will be a good thing for your college application.
Yeah, and from my personal experience, I think it helped Pranav as well, getting into the college and major that he wanted. So it definitely helps, both from service mind and then as well as, personally for college applications.
Thank you, Hari.
Thanks, Hari, for clarifying.
Yeah.
Sachin, to add up on that, the whole session that we are having right now is, following on some discussions with Pranav in our previous session, and he highlighted the experience that the volunteering experience that he had with young translators and the Vetrivel Foundation, and how that helped to formulate, the college applications and the essay process. Yeah, it's definitely an add-on, Sachin.
Cottalango, one additional question on behalf of the students. It came up in the last presentation we had. So as they start volunteering and then start translating, right, and then if they want to take it to the next level, let's say there are juniors and seniors that have some programming background, and if they want to help us with the technology solutions and whatnot, what would be the best route for them to approach?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they can contact us for sure. We have some tools that obviously need some attention. But yeah, especially, if you have time during your winter break or summer break, if you're looking for some project to work on, let us know. There's a lot of ideas that we need people to contribute.
Are there any opportunities to volunteer in the morning? Like say, when the kids are out at school and when there are parents at home, are there opportunities for?
Yeah, the offline reviewers for sure. Yeah, so there are adult volunteers, if they have some spare time, who can take these spreadsheets, like improve the quality, give us review. They can do it anytime they want.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, of course.
And they won't be part of the Google Classroom, is it? Or they will still be part of the Google Classroom?
They will be, and they don't have to be, but they can be. But we can, if she wants to be independent, then we can also send those sheets for corrections. அவங்க டைம்ல பண்ணிக்கலாம். So the way it works typically வந்து ஒரு Google Classroomல ஒரு active volunteer or passive volunteer இருப்பாங்க. So 2 volunteers இருப்பாங்க. So the active volunteer will sit during the session and அப்பவே வந்து கரெக்ஷன்ஸ் கொடுப்பாங்க. பட் என்ன ஆகும்னா சில ஒர்க் ஷீட்ஸ் எல்லாம் ரொம்ப பெருசா இருக்கும். ஸோ ஒரு 5-6 கிட்ஸ் ஒர்க் பண்ணும் போது அவங்களால அத்தனை கரெக்ஷன்ஸையும் அந்த 1 hourக்குள்ள முடிக்க முடியாது. ஸோ தே ஜஸ்ட் கைட் தம், ஆன்சர் எனி கொஸ்டின்ஸ் தே ஹேவ். அண்ட் வென் தட் ஸ்ப்ரெட்ஷீட் இஸ் கம்ப்ளீட்டட், ஆஃப்லைன் அந்த பாசிவா இருக்கிற அந்த ஆஃப்லைன் வாலண்டியர் வந்து அந்த ஸ்ப்ரெட்ஷீட் எடுத்து கரெக்ஷன்ஸ் கொடுத்து ஒரு கரெக்ஷன் சஜஸ்ட் பண்ணி நெக்ஸ்ட் செஷன் வரும்போது தீஸ் ஆர் த கரெக்ஷன்ஸ், இதை கரெக்ட் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு திருப்பி ஒருக்கா கொடுப்பாங்க. ஸோ அப்படியும் ஸோ வி நீட் தோஸ் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் வாலண்டியர்ஸ் டு. அந்த 2 ரிவ்யூ பண்ணி முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் வி சென்ட் தட் ஷீட் டு இந்தியா. ஸோ இங்கே ஒரு ஃபில்ட்ரேஷன் ப்ராசஸ் மாதிரி, ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரிவ்யூ, செகண்ட் ரிவ்யூ, then we give that final review to the India staff. So definitely பண்ணலாம்.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Maybe when we ask for volunteer in the style community, we should ask for 3 different categories is what my understanding is. One is the active student volunteer and active parent volunteer, and offline or inactive or passive parent volunteer who can do the review in their own time. They don't have to be physically present in the weekly classes sessions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Definitely.
Okay, so we'll draft it out when we send out for volunteer nominations. So the session, the next season starts at the end of this month, right?
Yes, September. I'll send you the exact date later on. இப்போ எனக்கு சரியா ஞாபகம்
Sure.
இல்லை. So
Okay.
நான் calendar பார்த்துட்டு I can send it through your WhatsApp கணிச்சிடுறேன்.
Sure, Mrs. Roopa. Thank you.
But அதுக்கு முன்னாடி if you அந்த processes அந்த Google form அனுப்புறோம். So உங்க interested kidsக்கு அதை forward பண்ணி let's see how much are interested. And உங்க சைட்ல இருந்து adult volunteers வந்தாங்கன்னா that would be great, so that you guys can be independent and then run your own team at the time of your convenience. நாங்க just materials மட்டும் provide பண்ணோம். So அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, if we get a team formed from style community, probably we may ask one of your existing volunteers to be a passive or offline volunteer in the beginning of the first season. Maybe in the following seasons we can take it on our own, I guess. Yeah.
So initially when we form a team, I come in and then I handhold you for a couple of sessions. I train the kids, and then when I feel sometimes ஒரு session கூட போதும், when I feel that you get the hang of it, நான் வந்து அப்படியே ஒதுங்கிப்பேன். So then the adult volunteers will run the whole thing. So there is definitely another training for them to be familiar with Google Classroom, what needs to be done, how the adult volunteers can help. அது வந்து ஒரு sessionல I will sit with them.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, Roopa will play an active role, like during the classes, right? The adult volunteer will mainly communicate with Roopa. So they will get constant feedback on the spreadsheet, எப்படி பண்றாங்க, எப்படி improve பண்ணலாம், அதெல்லாம் they'll get the feedback, not only from Roopa, also from the staff in India. Like if they do additional correction, you'll get to see it. So there's going to be help throughout the term.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. And the interaction, I have another question related to the teams that you have in India. So you said you have a team in India, mainly they are teachers who are actively working in government schools or in Tamil medium schools, right? So is it only Mrs. Roopa who interact with them, or is it every Google Classroom's parent volunteer needs to interact with them? I just want to understand the responsibilities of the parent volunteer.
இல்ல சார், நான் மட்டும்தான் இந்தியா ஸ்டாஃப் கூட
Okay.
வந்து பண்ணுவேன். ஸோ ஐ சென்ட் ஆல் தோஸ் ஷீட்ஸ் பிகாஸ் எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு 10 கிளாஸ் ரூம் இருக்கும் போது எந்த கிளாஸ் ரூம்ல ரெடியா இருக்கு, எந்த கிளாஸ் ரூம்ல ஷீட் இன்னும் ரெடி ஆகல, அதாவது கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணலன்றதை என்னால மட்டும்தான் பார்க்க முடியும் இல்லைங்களா? அந்தந்த கூகுள் கிளாஸ் ரூம்ல நீங்க மட்டும்தான் பார்க்க முடியும். பட் ஆன் த ஹோல் பார்க்கறது என்னால மட்டும்தான் பார்க்க முடியும் பிகாஸ் ஐ மேனேஜ் ஆல் த கூகுள் கிளாஸ் ரூம்ஸ். அதனால நான் எந்தெந்த டீம்ல என்னென்ன ஷீட்ஸ் ரெடியா இருக்கிறத மட்டும் எடுத்து தான் நான் வந்து இந்தியா ஸ்டாஃபுக்கு கொடுப்பேன். அவங்க அந்த ஸ்ப்ரெட்ஷீட்ல வந்து ரெட் கலர்ல கரெக்ட் பண்ணி அனுப்புவாங்க. கரெக்ஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் ரெட் கலர்ல கரெக்ட் பண்ணி அனுப்புவாங்க. ஸோ அதை பார்த்து சொல்லி கொடுக்கறதும் கொடுக்காததும் அடல்ட் வாலண்டியரோட இஷ்டம், அந்த மாதிரி.
ஓகே.
Yeah, இங்குள்ள adult volunteer, all they have to do is manage the kids here. அவங்களுடைய டீம்ல அந்த 4 or 5 kids அந்த ஆன்லைன்ல வரும்போது அவங்க கரெக்டா வர்றாங்களா, அவங்க அந்த சமயத்துல கம்ப்யூட்டர் இஷ்யூஸ் இருக்குதா, கரெக்டா தமிழ்ல டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்றாங்களா, அப்புறம் கீப்பிங் ட்ராக் ஆஃப் த வாலண்டியர் ஹவர்ஸ், அதுதான் அவங்களுடைய மெயின் இது. ஆஃப்லைன் ரிவ்யூவர்ஸ் ஆப்வியஸ்லி அவங்க டைம்ல போய் they'll go correction, give correction, everything, but again only the spreadsheet used by that team only. They don't have to do anything else. அந்த டீம்ல வந்து மட்டும் அவங்க பண்ணுவாங்க, அவ்வளவுதான். So they don't have to do any other coordination.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, it's going to be 7:20. We still have 10 more minutes. Any questions from anyone? Feel free to open up. I hear silence. All right. I assume it's clear to everybody. So maybe when we, start up the next step to look for nominations or volunteer nominations, then we may get more questions. Then we will coordinate with you further, Mr. Cottalango and Mrs. Roopa. I think we are good then. Maybe I'll pass it on to Anu to do a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Saravanan. Thank you so much, Mrs. and Mr. Leon, for this very, very, very genuine service, first of all. In the session, it is probably a small part of the great effort that went behind it. I mean, I'm sure so much of thought has gone into it. Avlo underprivileged kids ku poi reach agano அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு ஏரியாவை சூஸ் பண்ணி அவ்வளோ கிட்ஸ்க்கு சர்வீஸ் பண்ணணுங்கிற அந்த தாட், இட்ஸ் அமேசிங். அண்ட் இதுக்காக இவ்வளோ எஃபர்ட் போட்டிருக்கீங்க. யூ ஹாவ் கேதர்ட் அ டீம், அ ஃபவுண்டேஷன், அண்ட் so many students who constantly keep coming in, and it's an ongoing process. It is not something we start and let it go by itself. அது கான்ஸ்டன்ட் புஷ் கொடுத்துக்கிட்டே இருக்கிற மாதிரி ஒரு சர்வீஸ் சூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. Thank you so much for this service. I was just looking at one of your interviews when நீங்க உங்களோட ஆஸ்கர் அவார்ட் வின் பண்ணும்போது உங்க ஃபேமிலியோட இன்டர்வியூ ஒன்று யூடியூப்ல பார்த்தேன். அப்ப வந்து உங்க டாட்டர் வந்து நோபல் அவார்டு, ஐ மீன் நோபல் பிரைஸ் எப்ப வாங்க போறீங்கப்பா அப்படின்னு கேட்டதா ஒரு கோட் ஒன்று பார்த்தேன். ஐம் ஷுர் இட் இஸ் ஆன் த வே ஃபார் திஸ் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் சர்வீஸ். இட் டெஃபினெட்லி இட்ஸ் ஆல்ரெடி அ நோபல் அவார்ட். அந்த வின் பண்ண ஒரு குழந்தையும் உங்களுக்கு அவார்ட் கொடுத்த மாதிரி தானே. whoever benefits from this service, thank you so much. and இந்த செஷன் கூட நிறைய எங்க எல்லாருக்குமே புரியுற மாதிரி ரொம்ப கம்ஃபர்டபுளா கொண்டு போயிருந்தீங்க. thank you so much. we wish great success for this service. thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Anu covered everything. It's when I asked for, just to add one point, when I asked for a session from Mr. Cottalango, there was no thought about or second thought about delaying it or deferring it or procrastinating it, because many people, when we ask, they say, okay, I'll do next month, I'll do this month, I'll do, and we need to follow up multiple times. And I never had that experience with Mr. Cottalango from the beginning. Very helpful to, and also very humble at this level, very humble, being very, very humble and very simple, and in terms of explaining everything to us. And it's really thanks a lot for sharing your valuable time with our community.
Thank you, Saravanan.
Thank you, Roopa, also thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for organizing it. Yeah, it's really like I'm in a similar position too. I reach out to other Tamil schools, other Tamil organizations. Hey, we do this. Are you interested? Do you want to introduce to your kids? And I have the same kind of experience, right? A lot of times everybody's busy. It's not like
Right.
you don't want to do it. Everybody's busy. Everybody's doing a lot of other activities. So it takes time to get people's attention. So that's what you guys did today. Like you brought the kids together and have them get the opportunity to listen to us and then see what other kids are doing. So yeah, thank you for not only for this session, for all the other activities that you do. It's a very good service. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think we will ask for more sessions from you later. There are more topics of interest that we grab from this session. Yeah.
Sure, anytime.
Looking forward. And also, I just wanted to mention again, like, thanks, Hari, for helping us on this session. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Let's conclude this meeting and I'll stop recording.
Thank you, everyone.